I truly fell out of my chair when you told Kody "fuck you" last season. Like that, I was like, "Oh, she is turned." Okay, so I'd love to know if those things are things that you all always did, even in those early days of the show, and it just wasn't shown because it wasn't part of the world of the show, or are those things that kind of have evolved in your lives as you have, just lived more life and things like that?
Yeah. Well, I always had a very bad mouth.
They were just hiding it.
Swearing.
There's that show, that restaurant, Fuddrucker.
And
Cody would always go, Rudd, and she would just spit out. I still have a problem with it. But she would just spit it out. I'd be like, and we'd be all,
okay, and I have to tell you, so my son Garrison used to tell this funny story. Christine was very black and white.
so pious.
But you know what I mean?
That was me,
so
100%.
My son Garrison used the F word, and he was like maybe,
straight to his room.
10, 11, I don't know. So she sent him to his room.
I probably washed him out. That was soap first.
And he's like, and they like the other kids brought him dinner on a tray, and they slid it to him like he was in prison. So Christine was super like very black and white, very conservative.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Conservative. And I wore it like a badge of honor too. I was good.
That.
I was completely pious, completely with my religion. I was a good polygamist, church-going, absolutely. Yeah, you saw that's absolutely all true.
Wow. And I want to touch on, because you all are talking a lot about sort of parenting each other's kids. Yeah. You all are both inspirational and aspirational in terms of mothers. I have a little son, and it's just so nice. And we love our mom, and it's just so wonderful and satisfying to see amazing moms on TV. Is there something, I want to hear from both of you, that you admire about the other, about how they sort of parent your kids, or like, is there something that you're like, let's just give some flowers for a second to each other?
I absolutely can jump right in here, because Christine was always like, so she stayed home with the kids, and I was always working. And she would let them make messes. She wasn't intimidated by the mess. She was having so much fun with them, and then she could clean it up. And if they made a mess at my house, it took me forever to clean it up. I was always like, don't make a mess. So she was always like mom who was like, and they still talk about the life lessons about if you, what was it? There's something like when they were tattling.
Tattling. Are you bleeding? Is there any blood? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you can figure this out then. Let's figure this out. And so we just talk it through or whatever. Yeah. I'd be like, go duke it out, whatever you have to do, whatever.
I was kind of like, let's just talk about it. So I think she was always really, really good, especially with those, when the kids were younger and just were chaotic. She could really handle it. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. It was so fun. I had a blast. Being a mom's my favorite thing ever. I loved it.
It is.
What about you for Janelle?
So Janelle just, she was a great, Peyton, who's my only, boy, he always found another mom in Janelle, and a refuge and a place that he could go. And she just considers my kids her kids too, without a shadow of doubt. She's always been very open with sharing her kids too. Maddie wanting me there at Axel's birth, it wasn't personal to Janelle. With Peyton going over there and hanging out, it was never personal for me. And so it was just that way we just shared our kids, whatever way. She came over and held, Ace and Archer, and of course it's beautiful. So we just share our children, and that's what I always wanted. I wanted the whole sister wife thing to me was about the friendship that we have, yes, but it was more about being consistent in our children's lives. I'm just going to tell you a side story really fast.
Yes.
So Gwendolyn was riding a bike in Flagstaff, and she got hit by a car. On the crosswalk. So
she was okay.
She's fine. She's fine. Her bike is not fine, but she is fine. She called Kody, and he didn't answer her. So she called Janelle. Janelle answered, dropped everything that she was doing, picked her up, took her to the hospital, took her bike to the shop, did everything you're supposed to do, continued to check on her, made it all possible. I was in Utah, so I couldn't do a thing. And so she just dropped everything to take care of Gwendolyn. And I'm like, thank you so much. She's like, well, of course. I'm like, that's all she said. Well, of course.
That's so beautiful. It was beautiful, right?
That's what you do. That's it. You're a mom.
They're my
kids.
Mom. They're my kids too.
It was awesome.
So,
wow.
So that's it. It's cool, right? It's
that
goosebumps.
says everything about the family and the way that all the hard work that you put into building those bonds and how it pays off for not just for you all but for your kids. It's so beautiful.
That is one thing. We always really did want them to be siblings, and they truly are. They have text messages to us that do not include Christine and I.
Yeah.
No.
And they include Truly.
Well, I did say recently, I'm like, look, you can't ask Truly if her schedule is clear. She literally doesn't know. So you're going to have to include me sometimes.
Truly doesn't run around her own calendar.
She does not run her own calendar.
She's 14.
Yeah.
She's going to forget everything. We're going to Disneyland
I'm
this
Shirley's
weekend.
executive assistant, and I am going to tell you when